Folks, it is Tuesday. It is chilly, and we're getting ready to have ourselves an old fashioned rundown. Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for watching, for shooting a thumbs up, and for subscribing to the channel. It is truly appreciated. This is the rundown. This is your show. We're doing this 5 days a week now. We're literally going to be covering comments from this morning's video during the rundown. That's what it's all about, son. I want everybody at Prepper Nation to know that their comments are seen and heard, thus the rundown. So let's get right into it. This morning we were talking about the WEEF. I posted an article where they were angling a lot of stuff toward 2030, Agenda 2030, as they call it. Just a lot of bad stuff on the way, and hopefully people understand how bad things are going to get for the average, not just the average American, but the average person worldwide. It's already gotten bad in many other countries, but we're not immune here in the United States. It's coming here as well. So we're going to start with the live chat crowd this morning. Okay. 2326 Texas said, "What happened to Agenda 2021?" So I think you're talking about Agenda 2020, actually, which is still posted to the WEEF's own website. You folks can Google that if you're interested. I think it's around 20-ish pages. Um, we're living it. It didn't actually go anywhere. We're in the middle of Agenda 2020 right now. So the 2020 plan is to introduce diversity, inclusion, to muddy the waters on many different things, gender specific kind of stuff, and also to sack the country from within when it comes to just mass illegal immigration. There are many other things as well. They talk about sustainable food sources, sustainable energy. And when you take a look at the United States right now, or our world in general for that matter, you see this stuff playing out. Getting away from gasoline engines and getting into these EVs, the electric vehicles, this is not just some random occurrence that fell out of the sky. This is predetermined, again, according to Agenda 2020, and it's been orchestrated on purpose. Now, I don't know for sure that the C-19 is involved in this plan, but I will say since the C-19, they've incorporated a lot of the stuff from Agenda 20, and we're currently dealing with it right now. Um, if you take a look at the United States, and you look at certain groups of people versus other groups of people, it doesn't seem even across the board. It doesn't seem like everybody has an even shot of being successful here in the United States of America, and that's by design. So we're in the middle of Agenda 2020. This is why you're seeing a lot of your plant-based stuff. I mean, it's a dark hole, and you could spend all day talking about it and the things that have been done here in our society, questioning things like the national anthem, incorporating the concept of Marxism into the United States and fluffing it up like it's a good thing. I mean, these people have been hard at work. So, excellent comment. Kodiak Patriot says now they want to reduce family pets. And then he left a little more saying, they're coming after cats and dogs and things like this. So the people that control our planet, and yes, I'm going to sound like I have a tinfoil hat on right now, but I'm of the opinion that there's a core group of people that run our planet that meet in Switzerland once a year. Um, and let me just say, I don't know how anybody could not be of that opinion, because when you see these meetings, they're very secretive. All rights in Switzerland seem to go out of the window. They don't want people to know who is showing up to these meetings, what these meetings are about. They give you the bullet points online, but you don't really know what's discussed at these meetings. Um, and these things are attended by the FBI, the CIA, the Secretary of State here in the United States, different organizations from different countries that really shouldn't be at a World Economic Forum meeting, and yet they are. But the reason for the reduction of family pets and things like this, number one, it's about control. They want to make sure that they stay in control. For these people, they're already in power. They just want to keep that power. And they have a structure in place to do that again, getting back to agendas 2020 and 2030. These are structures that are going to help them maintain control of the world. That is their plan. Um, and the biggest issue that they have is the population, not necessarily of pets, but I've seen that and I understand where that comment comes from, but of people in general. When you have less people on the planet, they're easier to manipulate, they're easier to control. And population has been booming, and this is their biggest issue. How do we keep all of our sheep corralled, so to speak? Michael Gillett says, I don't think we will make it to 2024, much less 2030. Maybe not. Now, I will say next year, election year, it is going to be ferocious. It is going to be nasty. I don't think that's news to most people watching and listening to this video. But I do think we're gonna make it to some sort of semblance of an election. I cannot sit here and guarantee you it's gonna be all above board and all fair because I think we know better than that. But that's speculation on my part, okay? I will say I think we're gonna make it to 2024, and I think their plan is to get us to 2030. For me, it's a question of how bad is it gonna get? How nasty is it gonna get next year during the election cycle? And how bad is this world going to look by 2030? How much stuff for us will have changed for the worse, if that makes sense? Excellent comment. Lewis Taylor, they want to enslave us all, was the comment he left during the live stream or the live chat, I should say. So, Lewis, I understand the comment, but we're already enslaved. We have been for hundreds of years. These people have been running this game, not the same people, but the same bloodlines. They've been running this game since you had, landowners, lords, and serfs. It's the same game. The serfs in 2023 just don't understand their serfs. They think life is normal and everything's okay, and they don't understand they're being gamed. Now, a lot of people are awake to this, and people are, I think, starting to wake up, but they already have us where they want us. They're trying to keep us there, and that is their biggest issue right now. Sienna's big world. It is very sad to think about, but it's reality. And she's talking about, the topic this morning and where we're headed, I think by 2030. And I agree with this comment. It is very sad. And I think this is why a lot of people aren't awake. I think it's a willful thing on their part because when you think about it, when you start digging down these rabbit holes, they are dark places. And you really do understand it. It's weird reference, but it's kind of like the movie The Matrix. Remember the one guy, I don't remember his name, the bald guy that is awake and he's aboard the Evacanezer or something like that, but he's trying to cut a deal to get back into the Matrix. And he wants to get back into the Matrix. Of course, he wants money and women and houses and things like this. But the moral of the story there is he's okay with going back into slavery and living a lie because he doesn't want to face the reality of things because it's a tough thing to face. It is easier just to sit back with your head in the sand for the average person, I think, and just pretend like nothing's wrong. It's so much easier to do that because once you wake up, Once you realize what's going on and you start digging down these rabbit holes, you realize most of what you see out in the world is fabricated, and it's very tough. It's very sad to think about. You are correct. Quest conquest, and yet we don't stand up united. Excellent comment, and that has been the issue, quite frankly, for hundreds of years. You know, serfs did not want to be serfs back when they knew they were serfs, right? But they didn't know how to approach the lords. They didn't know how to take their freedom back. Um, Now the game has changed a little bit. Again, people don't not your average person again doesn't realize that they are in serfdom. Um, Organizing this and getting enough people together, waking enough people up, getting them together to actually do something about it is the biggest issue. I don't disagree with that. I just don't have the answer. I don't know how to wake everybody up all at one time or enough people. I don't know how to get everybody organized. I wish I did, but I just don't. Um, but excellent comments. So let's jump to the replay crowd. These are folks that missed the live chat, but we have a very active replay crowd here at Prepper Nation. Cigar Prepper. John, I started watching during COVID. I'm just a normal guy, and he left a little more of a comment, and I appreciate that. Number one, thank you. Number two, I'm just a normal guy. Everybody I think that watches Prepper Nation, we're just normal folks. And I appreciate you watching and supporting the channel and for being here. Uh Zombie 5 dumpster dive. It would take a village working and growing and producing together in order to survive. They're saying in order to survive Agenda 2030 and the plans that the we've have. We can't prep our way out of this. So I understand the comment. I get it. You're saying long term, there's no way to stack or even grow everything that you're going to need because the world around you is going to be changing. It's going to be evolving. It's folks, it's going to reach a point where you need digital ID in order to enter certain places. We saw this during the pandemic, but that to me is a trial run just to see how many people would do it. We are fast approaching a point in our society where fiat currency is going to be no longer. Everything is going to be tied into your phone and monitored. Everything. You're not going to be able to buy, sell, and trade without these smartphones and stuff like this. And they're saying, I think anyway, maybe let me know, Zombie 5, if you see this. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but they're saying there's no way you can completely disconnect from the world that is coming and survive unless you have an entire community full of people that are producing, growing food, this sort of thing. And I would agree with that. I think as preppers, you right now we can network. You know what I'm saying? We can get in good with farmers and dairy farms and butchers and things. And I'm in good with a couple of pawn shops, and I can trade actual coin, silver, and stuff like this for things that I need, and I can do it off the books because I know the owners of these places. Um, so right now, that's what you can do as a prepper, and of course, you can stack things and definitely grow things. But at some point, a tough choice is gonna have to be made because this society I'm talking about, this isn't just you need a smartphone with a certain app to get into a Walmart, okay? This is to get into to see a doctor, to get into an emergency room. Try to go to an emergency room sometime, hopefully not because you're in duress, right? And do it without being digital. They don't know how to check you in without doing it digitally. We've got these kiosks now. And if you don't know how to fill these kiosks out, it's like they don't know how to fill them out for you. So there's this increasing barrier between people like us and the world that is coming. And the world that is coming is unavoidable. It's just about, for me at least, prepping as much as I possibly can to prepare for that because it's going to hit like a runaway train, I think. Young guns. It's hard to beat a father and a husband who loves his family with everything he has. And that's such a great comment because the Weef, they have advantage on top of advantage on top of advantage, right? They have governments in their front pocket or back pocket, whatever. Um, they have stacks of money. They have militaries at their beck and call. The UN is the biggest. So what do we have? What do us serfs have? We have that sense where, as you're saying, when you're backed into a corner and you have nothing left, and it's all about survival and protecting what you have, that can be a very dangerous thing. That can be a very dangerous thing no matter how powerful the lords are. You know what I mean? So to put it into this perspective, if it's a prison, we outnumber the lords. We do. And it's similar to a prison and prison guards. Prison guards can be tough, but if they continually just abuse inmates and give inmates no hope and nothing to cling on to, those inmates become dangerous. They band together, they begin to fight back, and before you know it, they can take the prison. So that spirit in itself, that spirit of survival and protecting the people that you love, when especially when you're backed into a corner and you have nowhere else to go, man, that's a dangerous thing. Let me see here. Tion 39. I think I wrote that down correctly. Tion 39. We need a George Washington. Washington. John, could you be that guy? I appreciate that comment, and the answer is no. I consider it a strength and an asset to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. All right. And to be honest with yourself, there's certain things that I know I'm not going to be able to do. I'm not going to be able to play pro football. You know, look, man, look at me. I can't play in the NFL, right? If I wake up tomorrow morning and I wanted to play in the NFL, even if I put my mind to it and I said I'm not going to quit, I ain't getting in the NFL. It's just not a talent that I was born with. And I made reference to Thomas Paine this morning. Thomas Paine was, a very important figure in the founding of our country, as was George Washington, but they had two different skill sets, two totally different sets of talent. Um, our George Washington is out there somewhere. They may know it, they may not know it yet. They may not even be awake yet. But that individual, once they're awake, if they're not already, they're going to become the figurehead of the person that leads a would-be revolution. And that's just not a talent that I have. I'm not gonna be able to galvanize people like that and lead them into battle. Thomas Paine, on the other hand, had the ability, the unique ability to make people around him through pamphlets and newspapers and things, because what he would do is he sensed that people were getting tired of the oppression, the British oppression, the redcoats. But he knew he couldn't go out into a public square and stand up and say, "We're tired of this," because they would arrest him and black hole him, so to speak. So he wrote pamphlets that would inspire other people, and he would leave stacks of pamphlets at random places. And the redcoats couldn't find out who was doing it. They couldn't stop the signal. They couldn't stop the message. And it inspired people to want change. And once there were enough people that were inspired and wanted change, then George Washington found his feet underneath him, and he became the leader that he was. So everybody has a role to play. It's just mine is not, crossing the Yorktown, so to speak. Melanie Rice. If they think the Weef is good, it's probably a bot. So I'd mentioned this morning, and people do leave these comments. Well, the economic forum is there for our own good. They're just trying to make sure that we have what we need, and 15-minute cities are a great idea because who doesn't want just one grocery store, even though it's 5 minutes away walking distance, who doesn't just want one option, one doctor, one everything, right? Sadly, I'm gonna have to disagree with your comment, Melanie. I don't think that these are bots. I think that there are plenty of actual people out there who believe this is a good thing. I've had people message me outright, real people. I guess, I mean, it could have been an AI bot, but they seem like real people, and they are like, I read through Agenda 2020 and it sounds pretty good to me. I don't understand. And the reason they don't understand, in my opinion, is because of the way these agendas are worded. They're worded in such a way and spun in such a way that they seem like a positive thing. This is to give you an example would be the government coming to your door and saying, "Hey, you know what? We need your gun. But don't worry, we're just a phone call away. We'll take care of you. We've got this. This way, you don't even have to keep your weapon clean. You don't have to stack ammo. We'll do it for you." This sort of thing, and a lot of people, believe it or not, they will bite on that kind of a sales pitch, and they'll say, "Well, man, that's more convenient. I don't even need to protect myself now. You know, the cops will protect me." And so they'll just hand this stuff over. And with the Weef, it's the same type of sales pitch, at least in my mind, it's the same pitch. You know, we don't need dirty gasoline engines anymore. We don't need propane anymore. We don't need real meat. We have an alternative. We can grow this stuff in labs now. And not only is it better for the environment, you're doing your part. And don't you want to do your part? Because if you don't do your part, we're going to knock your social credit score down, and you don't want that. Your social credit score drops. You can't get into certain stores. You can't buy beer, this sort of thing. So just be a team player and eat what we put in front of you on a plate, and you'll be rewarded. You'll be able to get 2 six-packs of beer this month and go to the theater and everything. We got you covered. That's the type of sales pitch. And, Melanie, there are people out there that bite on it, hook, line, and sinker. And finally, Jim from Maryland, this was awesome. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. And that's a quote from Thomas Jefferson. And it's amazing, isn't it? Our founding fathers, and again, there's Thomas Jefferson, there's somebody else with a role to play. Thomas Jefferson was well read, for those that don't know. He was probably the most intelligent of the group. He understood Thomas Paine has his part to play. He understands Washington's got his part. You've got all these different people, right? But what they did was they got tired of the oppression, and it galvanized, and everybody got inspired, and then they decided to fight back, and they fought and they earned our freedom. And since that time, you know, servicemen and women have kept that freedom for us, thankfully. Um, but when this country was founded, they gave us documents. They said, here documents. This is a perfect blueprint on how to stay free. You have inherent rights. You have freedom of speech. You have this, you have this. And then they gave us sage advice. And, going back to that quote for a second, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Thomas Jefferson is saying when tyrants begin to get illegal and you're not free anymore, it's your duty to resist that. And we're being told, in 2023, well, that's extremist. That's too extreme. You can't do that. Remember the Facebook thing back during the C-19 and all this stuff. Do you know someone who's a little too prepared? That sort of thing. But our founding fathers were extreme. because they had to be extreme because that's how you fight against tyranny. And, they left us that sage advice. So take it to heart, take it however you want to take it. Folks, this has been the rundown. I appreciate all the comments this morning. See you tomorrow morning. God bless.